With the game at New Road over early, our LV Game of the Week switched to something of a classic in Taunton, where Somerset started a remarkable fight back first thing on day 3, as Nottinghamshire's Ricky Vessels was LBW to Tim Groenewald in the first over. Nottinghamshire had rejected to enforce the follow-on the previous day, but their first innings lead of 210 had been increased to 305 by the time that they lost their 6th wicket. Luke Wood comprehensively bowled by Alfonso Thomas for a single. 20 wickets had fallen on day 2, and it looked as if this one was going to follow suit, so the visitors would still have been pleased, even with a score on 95 for 6, when Samit Patel and Will Gidman joined forces. Taunton is a ground where the pitch sometimes flattens out over the match, so these two batsmen would have known that their team hadn't batted their opposition out of the contest quite yet. Gidman, struggling for his best form with both bat and ball since his move from Gloucestershire, was brilliantly held off his own bowling by Groenewald, a man who throughout this game keeps taking wickets just when they were needed. That ended a partnership of 48, Notts now on 143 for 7 for a lead of 353. Patel's innings was now an important one. With so much time left in this game, he didn't have to be in any rush. His job simply to get as many runs as possible to give Matthew Carter et al. As many to play with later on. Patel had made 46 when he gave the Somerset spinner, Abdur Rahman, who'd been out-bowled by the 19-year-old debutant, a wicket with a loose shot to Thomas at backward point. It was a good tumbling catch from the 38-year-old, who's had a good match. Carter had a day to remember on Monday when he claimed the best figures for a spinning debutant since 1938, with his figures of 7 for 56. He now hit his first 6 in the first-class game. But he then ran himself out after a mix-up with Ben Hilfenhaus. Tom Abel with a catch, and then he realised quicker than Carter that it was a no-ball. Michael Bates gathering Abel's throw really well, although the batsman had already given up by the time the ball was in his gloves. Carter was out for 11 at 186 for 9. And 4 runs later, Notts were all out as Thomas bowled Jake Ball for his 7th wicket of the match. The visitors dismissed for 190, which gave them a lead of exactly 400 after they'd lost their last 6 wickets in 85 minutes in the morning for the addition of 101 runs. Somerset had a crucial 25 minutes to survive before lunch, that being the job for Marcus Trescothick and Abel, a young batsman who carried his bat through Somerset's first innings. These two did just what they had to do, as they took their side to the break on 25 without loss. A very good morning for the home team completed, and the afternoon session was even more profitable for the West Countrymen. There was less swing than there had been, and there was hardly anything on offer either to help the Nottinghamshire seamers. Although the target of 401 was a very long way off, there were some at the ground who already started to talk of a famous win, and there have been some very big 4th innings chases in Taunton over the years. This would be one of the best ever if Somerset were to get even close. They made an ideal start. It was perhaps asking too much of Carter to produce his magic for the 2nd day in succession. The tall bowler had shot many on the previous day, but these two batsmen had learned quickly how to nullify his threat, with both Trescothick and Abel playing with ease for the most part, as their opening partnership started to give their side real hope. And it was one which was beginning to thoroughly frustrate the visiting attack. Patel thought he had a very good shout for LBW, and when that was turned down by the umpire Steve Garrett, the tension just started to build. Patel given a few words of advice by the official. Things were heating up on a warm afternoon in the West Country. Trescothick's 50 had arrived off 79 balls, while Abel got to his 2nd of the match off 104 deliveries. The pair by this stage finding the boundary 16 times between them as they took their partnership to 129. But then, next ball, Trescothick was the victim of an exceptional one-handed diving catch off his own bowling by Patel. He was going to need something special, and Patel certainly supplied it, and the relief on the Nottinghamshire faces was there for everybody to see, especially for the bowler, who was visibly pumped up. The wicket arrived 20 minutes before tea to give the visitors hope, the break coming with Somerset on 156 for 1. Johan Myberg had shown that it was not just the openers who could score runs by now. Nottinghamshire would have desperately hoped that one would bring 2 or more, but that was not to be the case. These two now took their partnership into the day's final session, and the tension continued to build, as did the Somerset score. That moved up to 197, almost half of the runs knocked off now, with just Trescothick back in the pavilion. Crucially, Gidman then broke through just when a wicket was so desperately needed. Abel out for the first time in the match after adding 72 to his first innings 76 not out. Stephen Mullaney with a catch and a well-placed short mid-off. In his next over, Gidman got the big wicket of James Hildreth, who took one hand off the bat as he drove to Carter just after the 200 had been brought up. Notts were at last having something to smile about. This sport having a constant way of surprising all of us who love it. Myberg then got to his half-century, only for him to lose Tom Cooper for a duck at the other end. Carter getting his first wicket of a much tougher day as the batsman plonked his shot to Patel at mid-wicket. The visitors were now having a good spell and were once again emerging as the favourites to win this extraordinary cricket match. That brought in Jim Allenby, who decided that the best thing to do from here was to go on the attack. This just one of a few gorgeous shots from the all-rounder. They say that catches win matches, and this one for Mullaney deserves to. This game has seen just about everything, but how the fielder clung on to this only he will know. It was a stunner, the kind of thing to lift the spirits of any fielding side. This one now having reduced Somerset to 243 for 5. 4 wickets falling for 46 runs to balance this match back up. That was Myberg gone for 56 and more wickets now, and Nottinghamshire and their supporters would have slept a lot more comfortably in their beds. As it was, Brendan Taylor dropped Peter Trigo, a big moment in a day filled with them. That denied Hilfenhaus his first wicket for his county, and it also allowed Trigo to go on to hit a few boundaries in a 26 which helped add 31 runs before the close of play. It all leaves everything to play for on what promises to be another thrilling final day.
You know, it's a pretty tough ask chasing down 400, but you know, I think we needed a good start and sort of managed to get a few runs with Trez at the top of the order. It was really nice getting a decent partnership to start off the innings, and now we've set up the game pretty well. You know, both sides still in the game, so should make for quite an interesting final day, I think.
He's not wrong there. With Allenby on 32 and Trigo on 26, Somerset will go again on 274 for 5, needing another 127 to complete the double over Nottinghamshire, who have the second new ball due in 5 overs' time. It's a game which has now become almost impossible to predict.